Welcome to another video, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me. So I was out for a couple of weeks. I had a knee injury, kept me in bed for most of the time. We only recently, overcame the majority of the pain, but I am doing better. But this came across my desk, and you go scrolling through social media sometimes. You never know what you'll find. But there's some things that you find that are just, I don't even know if disturbing is the right word. It's, it makes you think like you're in this, bizarro world. Because it's one of these stories and you're like, why is this even happening? I mean, considering where we are, just, not just the year, but technologically speaking with, the breakthroughs of AI and all this other stuff. This just seems so, pedestrian like. You know what I mean? Not to sound, too high society, but I mean, come on. Really. This is, it's when is this gonna stop?
Turn now to one community in Ohio, which is now the center of a growing national debate about civil rights, hate speech, and the Second Amendment. NBC News correspondent and NBC News Now daily anchor Morgan Radford visited the town of Lincoln Heights, where residents have formed an armed community defense group in the wake of a neo-Nazi rally. Morgan joins us now. You were there just on Tuesday. What did the residents tell you about what's going on?
Yeah, I was there just this week. John, it was fascinating because what's interesting is that this town was founded during the Great Migration back in the 20s as a refuge for Black citizens, which is why it was especially painful when neo-Nazis suddenly appeared in this 3,000-person majority Black town. But they decided to fight back, taking up arms and patrolling their own streets. Now they're at the center of a much larger debate about protection and free speech and who gets it.
Protection, free speech, and who gets it. I thought these were just human rights. I mean, what exactly are we talking about right now? I don't know if she meant to frame it in that way, but if this rally was organic, let's put it that way. If it was organic, then I mean, these guys are obviously, the outliers of society, right? And I hope their families are ashamed of them. I mean, hopefully. If their families have, a modicum of intellect or even just, a heart, a decent level of consciousness. What are we really doing right here? Alright, going to protest, in some black gear at the edge of a town that's known to be predominantly black. You guys, to the upper echelons, you guys have to look like Neanderthals. Just think about it for a minute. Okay, even if it wasn't organic and it was something that was orchestrated, I don't think you could pay me enough to go out there and act like a Neanderthal. Right? You basically want me to be a pawn in your game. No, I'm not interested. I'm not. Okay? No. Thank you. I'm good.
These aren't police officers or soldiers.
Your business owners, your fathers, your sons, daughters.
These are civilians, members of the Lincoln Heights.
Business owners, fathers, sons, daughters, mothers. I guess this would go back to the days when, the village chief was the head guy, right? Or maybe you had a king. Depends on where you were, right? But there's a small community, top tier leadership, and there were sentries, right? That's not what they call them, obviously. Sentries, I think, is more of a Roman term. But there were guards on the outskirts of this village that, were the first line of defense for invaders, plunderers, whoever. So the fact that it has to happen now, I mean, it feels like it's, like it's time warping, like it's taking us back to that time when we're supposed to be past it. All right, I hope you can fully grasp what I'm trying to hand to you right now. Pause. Yeah, this is from hundreds and hundreds of years ago, thousands, or however far back you want to go. This is how it was done, right? You had people on the outskirts of towns protecting the town from, right, other people they didn't know. But this is, it's America. Like, it shouldn't have to happen now in a developed, so-called superpower or whatever you want to call it. But we're in this modern era, postmodern era, after industrialization and after all these other things, and Roe versus Wade and Brown versus Board of Education, all these things, right? Came, gone, right? Go through it. It literally takes the wind out your sails, because at the end of the day, right, as people sharing this mass, the here and now, you just have to be good with that. Alright, wherever you are right now, this message is reaching you. You just have to be good with you. Alright, and in a larger sense, you will be that way, right, with others. Everything else. It's like, how would you want such and such person to treat you? Basically, very simple. So this is why when I see it, it's like, I don't know. There's lots of smart devices, smart homes, smart people. I don't know. I don't know. Not saying everything is based off of logic. Some things are judged. You go with a set of principles that's not really clearly defined, but there's a heart to the matter that has to be taken into consideration, right? But generally speaking, right, you look at this and you're like, man, I don't know.
Heights Safety and Watch Program.
It's a duty. Okay, let's go.
The duty, protecting their neighborhood, the majority black village of Lincoln Heights, Ohio. After neo-Nazis held a rally here last month, carrying rifles, waving swastikas, and hurling racial slurs, just moments before children were let out of school. At the time, law enforcement officials said the neo-Nazis did not break any laws, but an investigation by county prosecutors is ongoing. Weeks later, the KKK came with these flyers.
First African American community.
Now, as I said, and I will repeat, you couldn't pay me enough if this was not organic to go out there and do that bullshit. You couldn't pay me enough. I'm sorry. I refuse to be anybody's pawn in whatever game they might be playing. That's number one, right? I don't play henchman, only boss. Alright, so nah. Organically speaking, if this is really, who they purport to be, understand you guys are at the bottom of the barrel. Alright? And the only reason you're there is because you put yourselves there. Nobody put you there. You're there of your own volition. You can just, be with everybody else. Right? See what everybody else has to offer. Right? See what everybody else brings to the table. That's what you should be doing. Alright? Obviously what you've been doing has not been working for you. That's why you're in the position you're in. in this small group of outliers. However many they may be, you're still outliers. Not in a good way. Not in the way of, let's see, what's a good example that people don't know? Not in the way of Neo, right, in the Matrix. Not that kind of outlier. Right, you're like the multiple Agent Smiths. That was his name, right? Yeah, they're more like that guy. Whoever those, all right, what they call them, neo-Nazis. Whoever they were, they're like the multiples of Agent Smith. That's who they were. So it's crazy. You know what I mean? At this stage in our society, postmodern era, whatever you want to call it, right? And this is why a lot of people, tend to believe when it's said that it's a staged event, or it's it was designed by somebody else, right? Because I mean, come on, this has to be bizarro world for this to still be happening. But then you have other countries that are at war. People are being slaughtered, and then you have this, like, bro, read the room. Like, there's bigger fish to fry. You know what I'm saying? We have serious issues to deal with. This race thing that people are still perpetuating, like, come on. You know what I mean? I want to talk superiority. Listen, we're all here right now together. So that means, to a certain extent, we gotta work together. Alright? If we want to thrive, we want this place to be passed on to those coming behind us in the best way possible, right? For themselves and those of of us that come after them, whatever the case may be. Yeah, we got to work together. So, these people's families, whoever their close friends are, you gotta let them know. Listen, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? You know what I'm saying? What are you doing with your life doing something like this? Anyways, I certainly don't like seeing videos like this, but I'll say kudos to the the residents that went out there armed up and stuff. I mean, hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. If you feel like people are trying to take it back to those days when you gotta protect your home, on your own, like on some real street patrol type shit, then that's what you gotta do. Alright? That's what you gotta do. And I'm hoping that this is, we don't go back to that, because that's, I don't know. Feels like a step backward. Just me, Like I said, it's good to see that, people are willing to protect their neighborhoods, but for it to have to come to that, that's my point. That's the bigger point. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, of course, be sure to like it. I hope you made it to the end. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. I'm out for now, but I'll be back. Let's see what else is cooking.